Detroit Business Hub Group Director Nancy O'Neill works with her team of experts. Listen to conversations with business professionals to discover the latest business innovations, insights, and trends. Find out what's hot and what's not in today's business market.
Hi, Tonya. How are you?
Great. Hi, Nancy. So good to see you.
Good to see you too. We were just catching up and we were talking about the fact that we both used to work at the Sugar Law Center.
Yeah.
Like eons ago. I guess you had just graduated from law school or you were about to graduate. And I was working there for fundraising. So I thought we actually met at church, and you remember you were like, "No, that's not where we met. We met at the law center."
At the law center.
So I'm so glad to have you as a guest tonight and see how your business has really grown and blossomed over the years. I mean, we are like starting to age ourselves.
We are.
That was almost 20 years ago. It's like
it was.
I was close to the same. And so
getting some experience under our belts, huh?
Experience along with some gray hairs.
A little bit. Yeah.
Which most people can't see if you dye your hair. Let's see. So like I know I dye mine. I have to keep mine dyed or Barry looking in the front.
I have a few.
Well, you was good considering the fact you have a husband and a son. So
there we go.
So tell us, Tonya, bring us up to speed. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know by now you're really specializing in public policy, but you have this event coming up where you're helping, it looks like homeowners and tenants. So please share your background with us and so we can get to know you a little bit better.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you. Well, I was born and raised in the city of Detroit. I still live in the city, and I've dedicated my career to addressing issues and concerns of equitable development, racial equality, social justice. I just look for where I can make a difference in the quality of people's lives and how the law can help with that, essentially. So over the years, as Nancy mentioned, we work together at the Sugar Law Center for Economic and Social Justice. And that is a specialty law firm that focuses on workers' rights, civil rights. Our economic development portfolio work has grown a bit in the last 20 years. So I work on those type of issues for the law firm. And I also serve as a public policy advisor for Michigan Legal Services. And that is one of the oldest legal services agencies in the state of Michigan, not just the city of Detroit. And I just look at policies that help us have a better housing policies for all in the city of Detroit, in the state of Michigan, essentially. And I'll be glad to share about one of the events that I'm working on and why it's important. So that's a little snapshot about me. Nancy mentioned I have a husband, a 13-year-old son. He just graduated from the 8th grade, so I'm preparing for high school.
Like I said, we're aging each other because I remember when he was born. So we feel old.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, time is fine. Where did your son go to school?
Oh, I don't want to put that online.
Okay, because too personal TMI. Okay, I understand.
Yeah. But I'll tell you offline.
Okay. One off. Okay, no problem. Well, I am happy that he graduated from 8th grade. That is so exciting. And so you have this event, even though I know this is not the type of law that you're normally in, you have this event coming up soon. I'm trying to pull up the flyer now. But tell us about the event on June 29th.
Sure. Well, the event is Detroit Right to Counsel. And basically what we're talking about is the importance of having legal representation when you're going to court and facing eviction. Right to Counsel is a growing kind of movement throughout the country. And, just like if you were arrested for a crime and you couldn't afford to pay an attorney, you have a right to an attorney, because the values behind the law say that the risk of loss of your liberty and freedom is such a high risk and an important value in our society that you shouldn't go into court unrepresented, not knowing what you're talking about, right?
Exactly.
So right to counsel, we have that on the criminal side, but there's not an equivalent version of that on the civil side. So you often have individuals going to court in a position where they may lose their home, they may lose their parent custodial rights, they may lose guardianship. There's a lot to lose on the civil side as well. So the right to counsel movement in a broader sense is looking at how we can provide legal representation for low to moderate income individuals. And our event on the 29th is focused on three things. One, how we can implement such an initiative here in Detroit, where so many people are housing insecure, right? Providing legal counsel and advice to low to moderate income tenants. We also have an eviction moratorium, federal moratorium, that's been in place for a while now, but it is set to expire on June 30th.
Oh, no.
So
is that COVID or other factors?
Well, it seems that since the CDC has loosened up their restrictions, the moratorium was based on health concerns and staying in place orders and things of that nature. So it looks like CDC is lessening the state of emergency, or saying we're not in a state of emergency. I guess people decide what they feel about that. But in any case, that moratorium was from the CDC. It is set to expire on June 30th unless there's some extension. But if there's not, then people need to be aware of that, and they need to know what to do and who to call. So we're going to talk about that as well.
Is that why you're having your event on June 29th?
Yes, to let people know about the moratorium expiring, let people know where they can get assistance, and to talk about this larger societal issue of legal representation for low to moderate income people. Because truth be told, Detroit was in a housing crisis before the pandemic. The pandemic just put a lot of these social problems on display and aggravated them, escalated them.
Right.
But evictions were a problem before then. They still will be a problem afterwards, unless we come together as a community to do something about it. So right to counsel is one tool, I believe, in a toolbox of really stabilizing housing in our community. So that's what we're talking about. We'll have experts in the city of Detroit. We'll have people talk about what's going on at the 36th District Court. We're going to look at how the housing crisis affects Black women in particular in Detroit. Also, our undocumented communities, their stories are often not told. We're going to look at mental health angles. We're going to hear data and statistics that's being connected on this issue. Because some people may think, I'm not at risk of eviction. This isn't really for me. But it's really in all of our best interest to have safe, stable, affordable housing for all. It really benefits everyone in terms of the larger social and economic picture. A prosperous city, a more prosperous city, is good for all of us. And we talk about connecting those dots. We have people from other cities to show how it's worked out for them. And we're going to have a nice time. So join in on June 29th, starting at 6 p.m. And to get more information about that, you can go to Facebook. We have our Facebook page, and that is facebook.com, Detroit RTC. Facebook.com, Detroit RTC. So log on, like that page. Register for the event. If you don't want to register, we want you to register so we can keep in touch and send you reminders. But if you don't, then it will be streamed live on Facebook as well. And this is a new concept for Detroit, but it's one that makes moral sense and business sense. So please log in and support.
Okay, what does RTC stand for?
Right to counsel.
Oh, you did say that earlier. Okay, I'm putting it in the comments section so everyone is aware of the website as well, so they can look there if they just in case they see the replay.
Okay.
So Tonya, also share with us, how did you actually get interested in public policy and this type of law?
Well, it really started when I was a child, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have anyone around me immediately that was a lawyer. But
Mm-hmm.
somehow, I had this notion in my heart, and I believe it was divine. I just really had a sense that law was able to impact our society. And I was interested in it. I wanted to have a piece of it. I looked around at conditions in my neighborhood, and I thought things didn't have to be as hard as they were. I always thought there was other things, other tools that could make neighborhoods safer, stronger, more communal. And I just had that inkling as a kid. And as I just began to get older and explore career paths and what made sense, the law came my way. I wouldn't say it was a linear path. Originally I
Right.
was interested in natural resources. Um, and I entered the University of Michigan and began studying natural resources and environment. And in that, I was always pulled into environmental justice and these policy issues, and I just could not get away from the law, even though at one point I tried.
I mean,
But
really, being an attorney, though, you can almost major undergrad in anything you want. So, yeah. So,
yeah, but I swung over to political science.
Yep, that would have been a good major. But a lot of people major in English.
They do.
Criminal justice. They come really from all different types of backgrounds.
That's true.
No.
That's true. Come on, Nancy. Come on, join us.
Well, I actually dated a guy in college, and I wrote. He was in law school, and I used to write his little. What do you got? The legal documents that you had to submit in college. I was
what? Oh my goodness!
So I mean, it's kind of like I've already been through at least a few semesters of law school.
Oh my goodness!
I was writing
come on, Nancy. You
but
got it.
Yeah, I already kind of feel like I'm overeducated right now. Let me think about it once I pay the student loans I have now.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Okay, so let's flip this around a little bit. So I know that you're really into tenant advocacy. Now, is there a moratorium that's going away from people who are in arrears on their mortgages as well, or is it just for tenants?
Well, the eviction moratorium is in place for everybody, but there's still FHA guidance to provide mortgage forbearance relief. So that's not going anywhere, So if you have an FHA loan or federally insured loan, then you can still talk to your lender. You should talk to your lender, if things haven't gotten back on track, with this pandemic. Right. It has been a global pandemic over, for the past year, right?
Yeah.
So some people are not back to work. And if you're having trouble or struggling in that regard, call your lender, and ask for forbearance relief. That's still in place for the federally backed properties, but the eviction moratorium is set to expire on the 30th. Okay. People should know that.
Okay. So what advice, just to kind of flip this around a little bit, what advice would you offer real estate investors? Say, we have our event coming up on June 26th, the Real Estate Investor Workshop from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. And I think that every business owner, specifically depending on what type of business that you're in, have an attorney on retainer. So you don't really know what you're going to need them for.
Yes.
Do arise. I had hired Attorney Sobel a couple years back about an employee case that I had with my employer. And I never would have thought that, I would have been in a situation where I needed legal services for something like that. But they help negotiate terms. They can help lessen fees and penalties. So or, eliminate fees and penalties. So there are definitely perks to having an attorney. Why do you think a real estate investor would need an attorney? What are some of the services that attorneys can offer real estate investors?
Well, just in general, you don't know what you don't know. So,
Absolutely.
you want to protect yourself. Don't assume you know everything. Find a specialist in each category where you're doing business. You want your legal specialist, you want your accounting specialist, if you have employees, you want to make sure you have some HR specialists, no one is a master of all. You can have experience in a lot of things, but no one's a specialist in everything. So
absolutely. I would just say in general, I don't have any statistics for this, but people who usually represent themselves, or I should say people who have legal assistants, they seem to always fare better than people who represent themselves. I guess there's just like a certain level of respect that comes along with having an attorney versus you just saying, well, I'm just going to represent myself. It's like you're almost just not even heard. So
that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. And it comes down to what you know. I mean, the laws, just like anything, they change, there are updates, and you just want to make sure that you have someone that's experienced, that's in the arena every day to have your back, really. So it's just smart. Just protect yourself. Protect your business, protect yourself from liability, and
it's always you don't have them on the payroll. It's just that you know someone like a corporate attorney if you're starting an entity or starting a new business. There's Attorney Sobel. He specializes in real estate law. He specializes in public policy law. So people who can't afford services otherwise, they would contact you. So there's different types of attorneys that specialize in certain types of laws. So that's it. They're part of your team. They're on return.
Yes.
And you hire them as needed. It's not like you're paying them a paycheck every 2 weeks.
Right. Just make sure you have them on speed dial. Lock them in your phone, and if you don't know who to call, then ask somebody. Ask a friend for a referral. If you really no one can give you a referral, you can call the local bar associations. You can call Detroit Metropolitan Bar Association, Wolverine Bar Association. Right. The State Bar of Michigan has a huge lawyer referral system for lawyers all over the state. So if you don't know anyone, ask someone. If you don't get any answers there, call the bar associations and make sure you have someone available on your team. And I mean, I've certainly seen, and you can save yourself money. It's investing up front. It's investing up front. Don't let $100 problem turn into $1,000 problem. Just protect yourself,
Absolutely. Do you see any current trends in the real estate marketplace? For instance, do you see more people needing legal assistance in real estate?
Yes, I guess it depends on both ends of the spectrum, whether you're a buyer, whether you're a seller. I hope, people are not facing eviction, but as we talked about, some people are. But yeah, the market is I guess they say it's a seller's market right now.
Right.
But, whether you're a buyer, whether you're a seller, whether you're somewhere in between, you can benefit from having an attorney. So I really don't think that advice changes based on the market, really. I don't think it does. I think it's just good, prudent advice when you're dealing in real estate or when you're dealing in business, period. It's all subject to the law. We can't just do what we want to do, how we want to do it. It's all regulated by a law, so you should have a legal professional available to you.
Do you think you need an attorney to make major financial purchases, such as purchasing a home or renting out commercial space? I mean, how important is that? Because I know that you're dealing with legal documents like your purchase agreement. Is it really that important to have an attorney review those documents, or do you think because it's already been vetted that it's not necessary?
No, you should understand what you sign. If you ever get in a dispute about anything, the contract will govern, the lease will govern, the purchase agreement will govern. If it's not in that document, I won't say you don't have a chance. It just gets a lot more difficult if you don't have an attorney. I could say that, or if you don't have it in writing. Some people say, if it's not in writing, it doesn't exist. I won't go that far. But if it's not in writing, it is extremely difficult to prove it exists. So you want to understand what you sign. It may look, pretty straightforward, and just look at it like you're asking someone to do a document review. So you may not need full-blown legal representation.
Exactly.
You may just need a document review, because there could be something in that one little paragraph that you need to change 2 or 3 little words to protect yourself. And it's just good to have a second set of eyes on things. And sometimes, we've also heard the phrase, ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
Absolutely.
And I've seen some very well intentioned people get taken advantage of because they didn't know what they didn't know. So it doesn't hurt, if you're a very successful business owner, not low to moderate income, get an attorney or retainer. If you're moving up the income scale, right, and you can't quite afford someone at the moment, contact legal services or the bar associations to try and get pro bono assistance. But the contract is everything, almost everything, you should say. And I've seen, people say, but I said, and we discussed, and they said they'd add it in there, but it didn't make it in.
Right.
The writing is what governs, and you have to be really, really careful with those oral agreements and those side conversations to make sure it's in the document and what you intended to happen is reflected that way in the document.
What you hear this too, that people say, well, I signed it, but I didn't know what I was signing. How valid is that going to hold up in court?
Well, it's like I said,
buyers beware?
It is very buyers beware. I won't say it's impossible, but it's a lot more difficult. You have to prove fraud. You have to prove misrepresentation. I just didn't read it. It's not typically it's not good enough.
Yeah.
Typically it's not good enough. You have to prove that someone intended to take advantage of you.
Bait and switch.
So it can be done, but those are very, very high standards to meet. So you can save yourself a lot of time and a lot of headache.
Exactly.
I'm all for defending the little person, certainly. And I've seen people get taken advantage of in some horrible things. But that being said, if you can take the additional time, let someone look over that agreement for you, give it a second glance, get a legal opinion, it's well worth it.
I agree. I mean, if nothing else, for peace of mind, if nothing else, it can be to sleep at night.
Exactly.
I trust to have an attorney, and you want to make sure even the attorneys better, because unfortunately, there's good attorneys and bad attorneys. I had somebody look at it who I trust. I know that they're well known in the community. They're very reputable. They have a great reputation. And they said it's okay. I feel a lot better about signing this. So what I'm hearing from you is it's better to be proactive versus reactive.
It is much better. Much better. Just protect yourself, people say I can go to court. You can, but it might be
legal fees and everything else.
But it can take a couple of years off your life.
Exactly. So you had said like an attorney look over or them reviewing some documents, a document review, that's the term you use.
Right.
Like how much does that cost? Because I actually I have a form that I'll be filing over the summer, the articles of incorporation for our nonprofit. So we're a membership organization right now, but I'm going to apply for 501c3 exemption for the university or institute now, DBHG Institute.
Okay.
So how much do you think this overview would cost for them to look over our articles of incorporation?
Well, I'll tell you.
Starting rent, anything like that? I just want to get a ballpark so I kind of know what to expect.
Geez, well, attorneys are all over the place. Just like they're all over the place. You have some that will do it for, you can eyeball it and they'll do it. It's a flat fee, Even with a flat fee, attorneys typically think of things in hour increments. So if you ask what's your billable hour, I mean, most attorneys who've been out, for a while, I would just say, $150 an hour is on the lower end of things. So you could have an attorney that would say it's by the hour. You put down a retainer. They'll kind of figure out how much they believe it'll cost. They'll ask you for a retainer and they'll deduct from the time. And if you have anything left, you'll get it back. Some attorneys will do it that way.
and whoever gets their money back.
Some attorneys
so bad. I was like, can I please get a refund for my retainer? He's like,
they're going to be pretty accurate in their estimate.
He's like, actually, you went over your billable hours, so you actually owe me money. I was like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, everything counts.
Like,
everything.
Services.
Phone calls, sharpening the pencil. It's all in there. Okay.
I sharpen the pencil. I know, but they're gonna drag that retainer out as much as they can. Why do you actually give the money back or some of the money back?
Hey, I'm saying that's the business model.
They'll just call you, wish you a happy birthday. And like, okay, that must have been about 15 minutes. They send you a happy birthday e-card and they send you a card and deduct that off your retainer.
In increments, usually in increments within the hour, and you round up. So that's the side of the profession where we get our reputation from as attorneys.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll give you some other information too to round it out. We just have to keep it real, right? A lot of attorneys are going to charge you by the hour. That is what the profession does. But you have some who try to contain costs, and they'll estimate the time in their head and give you I'm telling you where this comes from, but they'll give you a flat fee and they'll stick to it for better or worse. If it takes longer, then they lose. If it takes shorter, then they win. But they'll give you a flat fee so you're not wondering what's happening, right? Now here's the good news for nonprofits that are I'll give you one resource to check out. Michigan Community Resources. They are a nonprofit based in the city of Detroit, and they provide transactional assistance, pro bono assistance to nonprofit organizations. So there is kind of an application process. They can only pair people with as many pro bono attorneys that they have, but they do work with, a lot of the big firms in town. There's an expectation, like me, I work with nonprofit organizations all the time, right? But I work for nonprofit organizations, but for attorneys that do not, there is an expectation as a member of the bar that you complete a certain amount of pro bono service every year. It's not a penalty if you don't, but it's a high expectation. It's part of our oath or whatnot. So Michigan Community Resources connects with attorneys that typically don't do nonprofit work. And they match them with nonprofits to work on very specific projects. And there's not a fee for the nonprofit because the attorneys are doing it as part of their pro bono service commitment. So there you go. So for nonprofits, particularly Detroit area-based nonprofits, check out Michigan Community Resources. It is an application. You have to fill it out. But do that and try and get matched up with a pro bono attorney. And it's for a discrete project also. Be mindful of that so you don't keep them on a long time. But if you have specific projects,
this is a one hit and done thing.
Or it might be a couple, but they're not on retainer. But it can save you. It's a good organization and a great mission to connect nonprofits with attorneys as well. So check out Michigan
Right.
Community
I will.
Resources.
I made a note and I put it in our comment section as well. Well, Tonya, thank you so much. I know that you're currently not taking clients, which I guess is a good thing, but I do appreciate the referral. So I will definitely look into that for the summer.
Okay.
Any closing comments? And we do hope you join us on the 26th because right now we don't have, we're going to have a panel discussion at the end of the event, towards the end, and we don't have an attorney as part of our panel now, if you would like to join us for that. So you can let me know offline.
Okay.
Any closing remarks that you have for our audience today?
Sure. This has just been such a fun conversation.
Yeah,
So
really fun.
thank you
It's nice
for
to catch up
having
with you
me.
too. We'll have to catch up up there sometime.
Yes. I just say knowledge is power. No matter where you are and what you're working on, just make sure that you're informed. Knowledge is power. And just work in integrity. Work in integrity. Treat others, the golden rule. Treat others how you would like to be treated. And do business in excellence. So, those are I guess my parting words to everyone. So,
well, thank you so much. I was so impressed when I got your bio. I'm like, I can't believe all the stuff that you've done in such a short amount of time. And congratulations on all of your accolades. I'm glad that your family's doing well. And like I said, we will be in touch. Hopefully we'll see you on the 26th. Thanks everybody for watching today. Everybody have a great afternoon and evening. We'll see you on Thursday at 6 p.m. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.